Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news, and sometimes reviews. In this video, we're taking a look at the Rode NT USB Plus USB microphone. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, the Rode NT USB Plus is not necessarily a new microphone. It's been out for a while, and I'm not reviewing it at the courtesy of Rode. They did not send me this for a fair and honest review. I bought it with my own money to use on this channel. And since I bought it, I decided we might as well review it. Alright, to kick things off, if you watch my channel, you may be wondering why I purchased the NT USB Plus when I already have an Electro Voice RE20 that I normally use for my videos. And you may also not be wondering why I'm replacing the RE20. So we've talked about this in previous videos. I've been having some weird audio issues. I can't identify the source of it. And I also was looking for something a little bit more portable, and that's where the NT USB Plus I think fits the bill. I mean, I've taken a look at some other microphones like the Rode PodMic, which is extremely popular. And personally, after a bunch of research and also after some testing, I think that the NT USB Plus sounds better than the PodMic out of the box. Now, for those wondering, I no longer have the Rode PodMic USB to directly compare against the NT USB Plus, but if you wanted to check out the review, I do recommend checking it out. And in that review, I also compared it against the Electro Voice RE20. Additionally here, and some people may say this is a faux pas by advertising another YouTuber's review while I'm reviewing something, but I don't care. I'd recommend checking out Podcastage's review here of the NT USB Plus and a bunch of other reviews. I mean, he compares this to a bunch of different mics, and I would recommend checking it out for a good feel of this mic overall. And also, Tom Buck's review I found very informative. In terms of specs and features, I think the NT USB Plus has a lot going for it, but right off the bat it is missing a couple of things. One of those, I think, is really not having a mute button. I think it should have a mute button right on the microphone, and possibly a microphone gain knob. It also does not have that. However, what it lacks there, I think it makes up with a bunch of other nifty features. I mean, it is USB-C. It's not XLR, so it's just connected to the computer via USB-C. You don't need an audio interface or a cloud lifter or a FET head or anything like that. And it can be connected to portable devices like an Android device or an iPad or an iPhone or something like that. It does have onboard DSP, so any adjustments you make in the Rode software save to this device, or save to this microphone. Additionally, the NT USB does have a headphone jack and a couple of volume knobs. Now, these volume knobs are not for the gain of the microphone, well, unless you're adjusting the gain going to the headset. Both of these knobs adjust the volume going to your headset, and that's it. And on top of all of that, and I would say this is a big one, the NT USB is a condenser microphone, which differs greatly from something like a dynamic microphone. An example of a couple of dynamic microphones would be something like the Rode PodMic, or the Shure MV7 Plus, or the SM7B, or even the RE20. In general, condenser mics are a little bit more sensitive than dynamic mics, and as such, they are not necessarily the best for an untreated room or an untreated space or a space with a lot of echo or background noise and stuff like that. However, based on what I'm seeing here, the NT USB Plus is doing an okay job. Now, a huge benefit to the NT USB Plus here is the fact that it's pretty much just plug and play. I mean, right now you're listening to me through basically the default settings. The only thing I've done on this microphone to adjust the audio is the noise gate. And that can all be done through the Rode Central software. You adjust it on here, you save it to the microphone, and you're off to the races. It's always going to be on that microphone unless you change it. So what I'm going to do now is just turn off that noise gate. Let me know if you hear any sort of difference whatsoever. I'm assuming you may hear some of the laptop fans that I have going on right now. The laptop I have is not quiet, so I usually use the noise gate or something like that to help drown out that audio. It also has a compressor. So I'll turn on the compressor and you let me know if you hear any sort of difference in the overall audio. There is a high pass filter which may take out some of the low end of my speaking. I can even crank that up to really dig out a lot of that low end. I can turn that high pass filter off and turn on the oral exciter, which I think increases the top end just a bit, which may not be flattering to my voice. Maybe it is. I have no idea. And then there's also the big bottom here. And the big bottom is something I'd probably not recommend using unless your voice is a little bit higher pitched, and the big bottom will complement it. I mean, I could be wrong here, but in my opinion, the NT USB Plus out of the box already has a lot of low end on that microphone. And by giving it more, I think it does reduce some of the clarity of my voice and probably other people's as well. I honestly think the microphone sounds really good just out of the box. But you let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you thought sounded good on this, and did you like these settings? So at this point in time, I've taken all of the settings off except that noise gate. And throughout the video, I've been, I don't know, like 3 inches off the microphone. If we take a look here, I do not have the included pop filter attached to the microphone just because I don't like the looks of it. I mean, I can talk in front of the pop filter here if you'd like, but at the same time, it's a really weird and awkward pop filter. It's a very big pop filter. I kind of wish they just had a foam one that went over the top of the mic. But anyways, I just took it off. I talk a little bit off axis so I'm not breathing directly into that microphone, and hopefully plosives aren't too bad this way. So at this point in the video, I'm going to do some plosive testing, and if you've got a very sensitive headset, you may want to turn it down a little bit or pull it a little bit away from your ears. So if I say something like pickled plosives, I'm going to go right into this mic, and this is where you want to be careful. Pickled plosives. And I'll put the little windscreen in front. Pickled plosives. There's the difference between having that windscreen and not having that windscreen, and off axis and right directly into that microphone. And now just to test out how this microphone is positioned, because that's one thing I don't like is this windscreen here and how it looks overall and how it kind of just frickin' covers everything. Anyways, I'm about 3-ish or so inches away from the microphone. So what I'm going to do now is just move it away from my mouth. Try not to make too much noise moving this boom arm. Maybe I'll just leave it there and move away from the mic just a little bit. So at this point in time, I'm like 4 or 5-ish inches away. Now I'm about a foot away from the microphone, and I'm going to go maybe just a little bit more than a foot. And you can hear the quality difference between being close up with the microphone and far away, the proximity effect. I'm having trouble finding words today. Anyways here, as much as I want to talk away from the microphone like this and not have it in the picture, a microphone like this is designed to be a little bit closer for the best sound, not right up on top like a dynamic, but close enough so you get a decent sound and reject the outside noises. So I'm going to continue talking, and I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm just going to keep talking random words and get closer to this microphone. And you can hear the proximity effect being close to this microphone and right on top of it, and being a little bit further away. And what I'm going to do now, and if you've got headphones, be careful. I'm going to get right up on this microphone. So I'm going right up to the microphone, and my beard basically at this point in time is touching the microphone. And this is the difference between being right up on the microphone, being about, I don't know, like 2 or 3 inches away from the microphone, and then further away. The microphone, in my opinion, I don't think you want to get right up on it to where your beard or mustache is touching it. But being closer is, in my opinion, better than further away. So now I've gone back a few inches away from that microphone. And at this point in the video, we're going to do a comparison here, and just a fun one. I might throw in a cheap USB as well. Let's see how that does. So I'm going to compare the NT USB Plus versus the Electro Voice RE20. Where the Electro Voice RE20 is a dynamic mic versus a condenser mic. It's not really a fair comparison. And it's not a fair comparison either because the Electro Voice RE20 is significantly more expensive than the NT USB Plus. And with the Electro Voice RE20, you also have to buy XLR cables for it. You also have to buy an audio interface. And in some cases, depending on your interface, you may have to buy a FET head or a cloud lifter to help boost that audio. So at this point, you're hearing me through the legendary Electro Voice RE20, which is a very, very popular microphone in professional use cases. I mean, I would say this goes toe-to-toe with something like the Shure SM7B. And, well, this is what it sounds like. I'm right up on the micro. Actually, I'm not right up on the microphone. I'll get right up on the microphone, and here's the sound difference between the Rode NT USB Plus and the Electro Voice RE20. Let me know your thoughts between the two different microphones here. and if you think the price point is justifiable, and we'll get to that in just a second. And now you're listening to me through the Comica STA-U1, which is significantly cheaper than the Rode NT USB Plus. This one is also a USB-C mic. It's a condenser mic. This one does have a mute button on it and also a volume gain knob, kind of what I wish was on the NT USB Plus. But here's a direct comparison of a much cheaper microphone versus the NT USB Plus, and significantly, ridiculously cheaper than something like the RE20. And now we're back on the Rode NT USB Plus. So let me know your thoughts about the comparison of those three mics in the comments below. Kind of a really weird comparison, but I'm just having fun here. So let's go on ahead and take a look at the pricing of all three microphones that we checked out. The Electro Voice RE20 here, the microphone on its own is $450. That is not a cheap microphone, and you can't just use the microphone on its own. You do need an audio interface. If you're just starting out, you're going to have to buy the microphone, the audio interface, the XLR cables, and possibly a FET head or cloud lifter depending on your audio interface to help boost that gain. This is a quiet microphone. So with that being said, it's at least $450, and let's just look at the price of the interface and the microphone. So the audio interface I was using was the Focusrite Scarlett Solo, which is priced at $110 overall, which pushes the price of the overall setup to about $560, give or take. And then if you have to buy XLR cables, and maybe depending on your setup, you've got to buy a cloud lifter or a FET head to help boost up the gain. You could be sitting closer to $650 to $700 overall for that setup, and that is not cheap. The Comica STA-U1, which is conveniently not available at the time of filming, is priced between $60 to $65, give or take. And the Rode NT USB Plus, which we are testing out right now, is priced at $179 overall. So let me know your thoughts about the price to performance ratio of this USB mic. So as for my likes and dislikes here, they're pretty simple and straightforward. I like how this microphone sounds out of the box. I like the simplicity of Rode Central and the fact that this has an onboard DSP to save those settings. So you set it once in Rode Central and you're done. I also like the fact that this is simple and straightforward. It's powered via USB. It works with Android and iOS and that kind of stuff too. I didn't test with iOS, but the pictures said it works with iOS. I did test with Android. On top of that, I think this microphone seems to be built very well. I like the price to performance ratio of it. I think it's priced very well for what it is. In terms of what I don't like about this microphone, I don't like that it doesn't have a mute button or a gain knob for the volume of it. I don't like the included windscreen, although I think it works. I would say it is, it's kind of bulky and very cumbersome, so I'm just trying not to use it at all. And the last thing here I don't like about the microphone is a weird one, and it's more of a technical glitch. I've noticed a few people talk about it on Reddit, and it is true, at least for me. If this thing is remaining plugged in for a long period of time, I don't know how many hours it takes, but after a set number of hours, the audio quality on this just goes down the toilet, and it sounds absolutely awful. And to fix it, you just unplug it and plug it back in, and you're back off to the races. It's a very weird thing. I don't know if it's because the computer goes to sleep and it wakes up, but I noticed it on Windows and Linux. It was a very odd situation overall, but maybe just unplugging it and plugging it back in before you're using it will fix those issues altogether. I wish I knew the set hour time frame before it actually does that. I will say, depending on your audio setup, you may not notice it, but if you wanted to listen to it, I did record a video without realizing that the audio had degraded, and I'll drop a link to that in the description below. Feel free to give it a listen. So as for my overall recommendation of this microphone, I would say if this is your price bracket, then absolutely yes. I think the Rode NT USB is a fantastic sounding microphone that seems to be built very well. I think it's great for streaming. I think it's great for YouTube channels. I think it's extremely versatile. If you're taking this microphone just to do Zoom calls or MS Teams calls or something like that, This is super overkill and I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you're paying way too much for something you don't need. But if you are looking to start a YouTube channel, if you've already got an existing YouTube channel, for example, I will be using this on this YouTube channel. I think this is an absolutely fantastic mic, and I think it punches above its weight class. Now, in my opinion here, and this might be a hot take because everybody's voice is different, everyone's ears are different, everyone has different preferences. I do think the Rode NT USB Plus sounds better, at least for my voice, than the Rode NT USB Mini. The Rode NT USB Mini is very, in my opinion, mid-forward. The Rode PodMic USB, I don't like the sound of this one out of the box. Maybe you do, but I think the Rode NT USB Plus sounds way better than the PodMic USB out of the box. The PodMic USB can be adjusted to sound very good. It's a very good mic. And the PodMic USB also has XLR if you are looking at upgrading in the future. And on a side note here, a couple of other options in this price bracket to consider are the Rode XDM100, which is a dynamic microphone, also USB-C, and the Rode NT1 5th Gen, which is USB-C and XLR, and a favorite of a lot of people, but it is a little bit more expensive. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Let me know your thoughts about the Rode NT USB Plus in the comments below, and I'll let the big bottom just carry us out here. So if you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.